Welcome. Welcome to Reforma's webinar, Serving Spanish Speakers in COVID-19 Times. My name is Loida Garcia Fibo, and I am the moderator of this webinar today. I have the joy of being past president of Reforma and immediate past president of the American Library Association. Our webinar today aligns with Reforma's mission to promote library services to Latinos and the Spanish speakers. Reforma has a long history of activism, advocating, and supporting services for all in our communities. Libraries are for everyone. What I love about Reforma is that it is an activist association. Throughout the years, Reforma has worked together with different groups, including the Joint Caucus, Council of Librarians of Color, the American Indian Library Association, the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association, the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, and the Chinese American Librarians Association, and many others, to advocate for the rights of our community members, patrons, and library workers. We are living in historical times, and Reforma has taken a stand to affirm that Black lives matter. Reforma Executives Committee statement indicating that the Executive Committee stands in solidarity with the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, BCLA, in condemning violence and racism towards Black people and all people of color. And Reforma has endorsed BCLA's statement condemning increased violence and racism towards Black Americans and people of color. Additionally, since this is Pride Month, happy Pride. I must mention that over the years, Reforma members have supported the rights of our LGBTQIA+ communities. We are also celebrating that yesterday's Supreme Court ruling stating explicitly that under the Civil Rights Act, discrimination based on sex includes discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. That is a tremendous victory. As Outright International, the leading organization advocating for LGBT human rights at the United Nations, said in their statement, this judgment will have implications for the LGBTQIA+ people everywhere. Governments and movements are inspired by each other, and landmark judgments are quoted by courts across the world. Here on the screen, it's a compilation of pride flags from Outright. We ought to continue advocating for everyone in our communities together. Thank you to each one of you Reforma members and our dear colleagues for your outgoing advocacy and fight for human rights. Now to our webinar. As we know, COVID-19 changed the way libraries provide services to patrons. Most libraries went from in-person services to online services. How do we plan and navigate logistics to provide services for Spanish speakers? What types of library services can we provide to vulnerable groups? Today, librarians serving Spanish speakers at academic, community college, medical, public, and school libraries will share how they are serving this population during the COVID-19 times. We are looking forward to finding out more about their services. And if you have questions, feel free to type on the chat box. Our speakers can answer them as the webinar progresses, but we also will have a Q&A session at the end. Now it is my pleasure to welcome our speakers in order of participation. Kenny Garcia, California State University at Monterey and Reforma President. Oscar Baeza, El Paso Community College, Reforma Vice President. Madeline Peña, Los Angeles Public Library, Reforma Immediate Past President. We got all the leadership here. Ebony Henry, School Library at Truesdale Education Campus and ALA Executive Board Member. And Nora Franco, Consumer Health Librarian and LMN, she will let us know about that, at the UCLA Biomedical Library. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Reforma President Kenny Garcia.
Thank you, Loida. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Sorry, having some technical issues. So I just wanted to share the Reforma website. It is reforma.org, and I'm just going to give some brief remarks and kind of let the other presenters share some of their experiences. I first want to thank Loida. She coordinated this webinar and she organized this presentation. So thank you, Loida, for all the work that you put in for this presentation and for the participants that are going to be sharing their experiences. I did want to kind of share some personal or some local information about what's happening, just to kind of give that local perspective. And I'm sure this is happening all over the US, but I live in Monterey County, California. We have about 435,000 residents, and about 257,000 are Latino. So it's 59% Latino. In terms of COVID-19, there's been about 1,000 cases, and 800 have been Latino. So it's 80% of the COVID cases are coming from the Latino community. And it's especially hit hard in Salinas and South County, Monterey, which includes King City, Greenfield, and Gonzales, which is where a lot of the low income and farm workers live. And, you know, the Monterey County is kind of made up of a lot of farmland. It's a very rural community, and it's hit the county really hard. And so I'm really interested to kind of hear what folks are kind of doing to kind of serve the Latino and the Spanish-speaking communities. And I also wanted to kind of talk about next steps, because I know this is kind of the initial conversation. And I just wanted to share briefly some things that the Reforma Executive Committee has been discussing. And so we've been discussing forming a COVID-19 ad hoc committee to continue the conversation that's been happening so far. And I really want to thank Loida, Alex Gomez, Millie Gonzalez, Libby Romero, Adriana Blancar Haywood, and the Reforma Northeast chapter for the work that they've done to kind of start the conversation. And they're having they are having a mini conference this Friday. So if you go to the Reforma website, reforma.org, it's on our homepage. And the title of the mini conference is Facing New Challenges, Working in Community and Responding to Crisis. And so it's going to be an amazing mini conference. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that it's going to be really important for us to organize, to agitate, to advocate, and to continue organizing, um, because there's going to be we're going to have to be involved at the local, at the state level, at the federal level, when it comes to budgets, and we have to make sure that the social services, including libraries, are fully funded, to be able to continue the great work that folks are doing. So I'll just leave it at that because I know there's some amazing presentations that are going on, and I just wanted to say welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kenny. And now let's welcome Oscar Baeza, Reforma Vice President.
Thank you, Loida, for that. And thank you, Kenny, for those words as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that we have going on out here in El Paso, Texas. And so the first one I want to mention is going to be our College Foundation. And so as right before I start this, let me just share my screen. And it's not a big change, but just so you could see some of the initiatives that I want to be talking about here. Can you all see that? Okay. So we'll start off by talking a little bit about the College Foundation. So college foundations are put together to raise funds for college for our students. They secure grants, they build partnerships and so forth. And so our foundation pretty much got a grant through Excelencia in Education. So Excelencia in Education is a national nonprofit organization that focuses in accelerating Latino students to be successful in higher education. So these grants became available, and one of the good things that we were very excited about was that they became available to our DACA students and to our international students. The college has about maybe 200 DACA students, and we have about maybe 600 international students because we are at the border with Mexico and the United States. So it was really nice to see that DACA students were getting some money. As you know, undocumented families did not receive stimulus packages when COVID-19 hit. So we were really worried that a lot of our students would not be able to continue their education, especially our DACA students who were getting no support from the government. So this grant really helped out. So how did the libraries kind of play into this? Well, we did a lot of the marketing for this when they got this grant. So we were on social media, we were on chat rooms, when we were doing our online teaching, we were telling students about it. And so we were just spreading the word. And the last that I heard is that the money is pretty much all taken. DACA students and international students applied, so the money was used for some good things. So we're really happy about that. I believe they're trying to secure some more money to kind of continue this going. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. The next initiative I want to talk about is called our Seniors Going Digital. So this is a grant that our library, where I work at, received last year. And we received this through the IMLS, and it was part of the Accelerating Promising Practices for Small Libraries grant. And so the purpose of this grant and the whole initiative behind it was to conduct computer classes for senior citizens. El Paso is unique. We are about 75 to 80% Latino. And so pretty much everybody in El Paso, and I shouldn't say everybody, but a good majority of people in El Paso speak Spanish and English. And a lot of people just speak Spanish. So when we offered our computer classes, we offered them both in Spanish and English, and even in Spanglish, right? And so we're really excited about getting senior citizens to come to our library and learn about basic computer functions. And what I mean about basic computer functions is how to set up an email. We were teaching them how to do online shopping, um, how to do FaceTime, so they could, visit their families from afar, due to through technology. These are the kind of things we wanted to show our senior citizens. And the classes started off, and we were doing great. And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, we had to kind of put everything on hold. But I'm glad to say that the team right now is working on doing something online for our senior citizens, whether if it's maybe building a LibGuide and having senior citizens go to our LibGuide and then maybe watch videos. Maybe we'll do some on live sessions like we're doing right now on Zoom. We're planning maybe to talk to our local television station that we have set up here at the college. Maybe they could show some of our videos through TV. So we have some different ideas that we're bouncing around, and we're excited about that. So I'll let you know how that goes. But our seniors going digital program is really successful, and it's really nice for people. So the last initiative, or the last thing I want to talk about, is Reforma El Paso chapter. So our El Paso chapter is does a lot of great work, and one of the things that we do that we're really proud of is we work with immigrant and refugee children, and we work very closely with the Reforma Children in Crisis Project as well, where this Reforma CIC sends us books where we could donate these books over to refugee and immigrant children. So we've been doing this project for about maybe 4 or 5 years already. Uh, right now during COVID, though, they're not really allowing us to visit the children that are in these facilities, right? And so we kind of have that project on hold. But as soon as things, get a little better, we're hoping to continue doing that. We're also, the Reforma El Paso chapter is also planning for its fall conference right now. And so every year we have a small fall conference that is hosted by the Border Regional Library Association, by the Texas Library Association, and by the Reforma El Paso chapter. And it's a little small conference that we have here in El Paso. About 100, 150 people come to our conference, and we have a good time. We have guest speakers, we have workshops. Reforma always makes sure to put on a good workshop dealing with Latino issues. And one of the workshops that we're planning to do for this fall, it has to do with racism and the hate that we've seen throughout the nation. We want to address that. We want to talk about that. And I'm real glad that Loida mentioned that at the beginning, and how Reforma took a stand against this hatred and this racism. And so we want to continue those conversations, and the Reforma El Paso chapter wants to keep that dialogue going. So those are some of the things that we're working on. But I'll happy to take any questions at the end of the presentations, like Loida said. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to our next speaker, and I'll go ahead and stop sharing the screen here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Oscar. It's so important to include work done by community colleges, and you guys are working very hard, so thank you. And now we welcome Madeline Peña, Reforma Immediate Vice President.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for being here today. So I'll be talking a little bit about what the Los Angeles Public Library has been doing to serve Spanish speakers during COVID-19, during these times. So I work as a digital content team manager for Los Angeles Public Library. We pretty much, my team, my department, we are the digital branch of the library. So now that our physical branches are closed, we are busier than ever trying, keeping our digital doors open for everyone. Before I start, I wanted to say happy birthday to Barbara Miller from the Orange County chapter. So happy birthday, Barbara. She's with us today. And I'll be now talking about LAPL. So this is our mission. I always like to share a mission because I love that the words diverse communities are part of our mission. So everything we do is driven by our mission. And we developed in the past year these leadership values as LAPL employees. and one of them is being inclusive. So this work we do to serve our Latino Spanish speaking, it's also informed by our leadership values. In Los Angeles, I don't have to say, Los Angeles, it's, we speak Spanish a lot. Over 60% of people who live in LA speak other language than English at home. And of that, 43% it's in Spanish. So what happened? Once the crisis started, one of the first things our PR department did, working with the translations team, which a lot of the work I'm going to share today, it was coordinated by the translations team and my colleagues, Edwin Rodarte, who's behind the scene managing this broadcast, and Ana Avalos, Ana Campos, Lupe Leiva, Nina Pinelo, and Pari Valdovinos. So a lot of the work was done, all the Spanish work with them. So the PR department created this bilingual signage for our branches right when everything was starting to happen. We deployed those signs throughout our branches, so encouraging, healthy hand washing, right? Then we went to, okay, we're going to stop offering public computers. Then we said, okay, we will cancel public programming through March 31st. Then we said, okay, we're going to close Central Library. But we ended up closing all libraries. And now you know that it was beyond March 31st. We are still closed. So from the beginning of the pandemic and everything that was developing rapidly, the library was issuing all the messages both in English and Spanish, and also in additional languages as well. So this is the current message we have on our website. And all libraries are closed until further notice, and we are eager to resume our in-person service. We don't have a specific date to reopen, but we're working on it, and we will be ready to offer sidewalk or curbside pickup as soon as possible. And you see that Más Información, more information link is our COVID-19 information page that was put up since the moment the library closed, and it was done in English and in Spanish. That's the link. It's keeps being updated with what's going on with the library, and also with additional resources about the virus and how to stay safe, etc. So one of the biggest things we did right after the closure was to make our website the library at home, the digital library at home. We did it both in English, and we redesigned the site in Spanish as well. So this is a screenshot. I will show a little bit of the website later today. If not, please go to lapl.org/español. And you see, we switch everything to showcase our digital resources, what's available online, to make things easier to access from home. Number one, how to get a library card. People now in all LA County can get a free e-card, an electronic library card from the library, to have instant access to our resources, information about the summer reading challenge that's happening now, information for those parents and students, because each student in the LAUSD school district, they automatically have a student success card with access to everything the library has to offer. So we put out information, and there's much more, all our e-media, electronic resources, including online classes, language learning, databases, ebooks, etc. Everything's on the homepage. We also created virtual backgrounds. So we have a blog post and a page for virtual backgrounds. I'll share in a little bit, and that's Celia Avila, the current PR chair of Reforma. Serving as a model. We issue coloring sheets, and I'll show them a little bit later as well. And we've been working with our staff, our dedicated staff, the Los Angeles Public Library, in addition to, I mentioned translations team, digital content team, our leadership, and also the staff of LAPL. It's committed to serving our diverse communities. And many of our staff members have come up and created blog posts in Spanish and many other languages as well. So here are some examples of stuff that we've put together, showing people how to take online classes, how to read newspapers, how to support learning into languages for their families, and also how to make the most, sacarle provecho to the library from home. Something that was a new initiative from our digitizations and special collections department is Safer at Home Archive, Archivo Más Seguros en Casa, where we are requesting, we're asking the public to submit photos, writings, poems, illustrations, anything that they have created, letters to that can show how their lives have changed during this, while you're home, during the quarantine time, during the COVID-19 times. And that's one of the photos submitted by one of our patrons. We have also decided to create many tutorials in video. They're available on YouTube. And some of them were for parents, with kids in school, those with the student success card, and that was coordinated by the youth services department with the digital content team and the translations team. And we put up 4 videos showing, kids and parents how to get homework help for all ages, also how to access Overdrive and Hoopla. We also, another staff member created a video on how to use Makemake, and I'm going to mention it a little bit later. And we put up a video on how to create a Gmail account for those who are just learning how to get online and don't know how to get a free email account. So they're on YouTube. Our collections development department in Spanish, multilingual collections, they have expanded, and that's Ana Avalos and Pari Valdovinos. They have expanded our ebook collection available on Overdrive. So I encourage you to look it up. And this new platform, Makemake, is a digital, it's a interactive digital books, mostly for kids, but all the way to, we have titles for all the way to teens. And they're very high quality, great books from Latin America. And Edwin Rodarte coordinated the acquisition of this platform. And it is fantastic. I highly recommend it. Very great books, and it's also free with a library card. So we launched this service a couple months ago after the closure, and we thought it was perfect timing. And for those who know the Arroz con Leche Me Quiero Casar, I love that little song. So it brings me great memories from my childhood. The book's available on Makemake. What else? Oh, programs. So we've had many programs, live programs via Instagram, via Zoom, via Facebook and YouTube. And now we have weekly or sometimes daily horas de cuentos, story times, either bilingual or just in Spanish. And you can see this is a screenshot from today's calendar. We've also have been doing for the past few weeks, every Thursday at noon, Ask a Librarian Live. Sometimes I've participated, and you see my colleagues Ana Campos, who coordinated this program, and Lupe Leiva and Edwin Rodarte, and where we show our patrons live how to access our different, databases, online language learning platforms. So it's more like a live tutorial. And if we receive questions, or we get questions, we answer them live as well. It's been very popular. We do get a lot of views each week from our videos. And other departments like the New Americans Initiative, they have put together special programming like this. It was about protections for renters, and also another program that was everything people need to know if they are in the workforce or if they lost their jobs. Very interesting. And there are other programs for adults, like in Spanish classes and book clubs, etc. So check our calendar. The New Americans Initiative is also started offering phone consultations for immigration questions, also for small businesses coaching, and financial coaching. So all virtual appointments, they are available, lapl.org/NAE, New Americans, and it's always free, confidential, and available over the phone. We're also on social media in Spanish and Espanol at LAPL en Español Instagram, which was created after the closure, and also on Twitter. So if you have questions, that is my email account. And anyways, we'll answer questions a little bit later. And if you want to know more about what the Los Angeles Public Library has been doing more in depth with more time, please join us on Friday. We'll be presenting at the Northeast, Reforma Northeast 16th Annual Joint Mini Conference. So please, I'll see you on Friday, and then you will hear from other colleagues as well. And I know my time is up, but here's our website, lapl.org/español. You'll see everything that we have to offer, for learning English, online classes, newspapers, and then our coloring sheets and our virtual Zoom backgrounds. They're really cool. So this is some of the stuff we've been doing at the Los Angeles Public Library during the crisis. The situation keeps evolving. We're getting ready to offer curbside pickup, and we'll see what will happen in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Los Angeles, always a model. I enjoy all the things every time I see them on social media. Now it's my pleasure to present Ebony Henry.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, because I can't even hear myself. So I'm going to share my screen. And I am like listening from the YouTube, so I will be behind, it seems like, but here is my screen. Like you said, my name is Ebony Henry. I'm a school media specialist in Washington, D.C. And I would say our population is about 85% Hispanic population. If we have 500 students, I feel like there's about 350 students that we teach that are from the Hispanic population, and about from the 350, there could be about 200 who English is their second language, and they're still learning to speak English as we go. So some of the things we did, or I did, especially coming from a school library, and really the school runs everything, and I'm just the librarian, so I have to like force myself through things so they can respect, the librarian, and we go through all of that dealing with school libraries. So one of the number one things that I did the last day of school, which was March 13th, I made sure that I circulated multiple copies of books. Usually we only allow students to take out one. During this time, I allow students to take out 3 books, not including the idea that they may have already had books at home. I also handed out a fact sheet which included my Instagram page for work, which I gave students the opportunity and their parents to follow me so that they would have continuous resources that I post to that page to continue their learning. I also provided them with a reading log, which at the time was only for 2 weeks because we thought that we would only be out of school for 2 weeks, and thus we turned into 3 months. So every 2 to 3 weeks, I resubmitted a reading log for them. Because like I said earlier, we have some students who English is not their first language. I definitely have made sure that everything that I send out comes in English and in Spanish. So our students, and not only our students, but our parents can be able to understand and be able to help their students. Because I serve a population from pre-K 3 to 5th grade. So 3-year-olds are not reading. So their parents have to read to them. We have a book box, which you can see, which was the very first slide that we have outside our school, is a little library book box that I fill up once a week. And sometimes I go twice a week. Where I get the books from is from Donors Choose projects that I do regularly. And I always do picture books or nonfiction books, and my students actually love nonfiction. But I always make sure that I do half Spanish and half English books, so that when I put those type of books in the book bin, that all the population of all my students and the community can definitely check out or really take the books. We've worked with outside resources and stuff like that, the churches in our community, neighbors in our communities who are also past educators, and librarians who are very helpful and working with us. We have a gentleman that I met literally last month who's been a blessing to our students. He I guess signed up for a grant with First Book. So he told me like 17 boxes of books in English and in Spanish that he brings to the school twice a week and helps me replenish our a little library outside the school. As you can see, the way I joined the classes, I'm on the computer. I sat in classes doing the learning time and pretty much just inputted myself. Anytime a teacher would talk about certain things, I made sure that I added to the subject, and then I also would do translation. I work very closely with our Spanish teacher. If you follow my Instagram, you can tell that I've reposted a lot of her books that she would read to students, and I would actually give her books to ask her, can you read these books in Spanish for me, so that our Spanish speaking students are able to get story time in Spanish and not just hear me or hear somebody else speaking in English. So I work very closely with the Spanish teacher. She's part of my specials team. And so we work together on doing donors choose, whether she did one and I did one. And we swapped a lot of books, and I helped her choose books to read for our age group that we have at our school. And I work with her, like I said, and she would read the books, and I would just reshare her page so that our students were able to get a story time, a bilingual story time. Besides doing donors choose and collaborating with the Spanish teacher, some of our students, I was able to reach out to them, and they ran out of the books. Like I said, I only checked out 3 books to them 3 months ago at that point. So I did a special donors choose, which was for distance learning, and made sure that I, one, got more Spanish material. So of the 320 something books, at least 200 books were for Spanish, were in Spanish from pre-K all the way up to 5th grade. And then also I started to do a part of that donors choose included preparing pre-K kids for kindergarten. And I made sure that those Clifford books and the books that I purchased to get kids ready for kindergarten were also in Spanish, so that you can see my little friend Jose here at the bottom. He came to get his kindergarten packet ready. The first week of June, I sat outside my school, as you can see, and handed out little packets of summer reading information to sign up for DC Public Library summer reading, to also help them with re-enrollment. It was also in English and in Spanish. As you see, I have my computer. Oh, you can't see, but I have my computer out there. So I also help with enrollment. And it was funny because I did most of enrollment in Spanish, and the language on the screen was Spanish. And it was just hard sometimes to help translate, but I know Spanglish. So I was able to help the parents and help them answer the questions and help them understand that some of those questions they did not have to answer, because I've seen the questions in English and I think that it was not appropriate questions that should be asked. But those are some of the things that I did to definitely stay connected with my community. These are things that I normally do during the school year, but due to COVID, we had to take things from being in the building to hitting the streets and being outside, and definitely using technology and using social media to get kids involved. And I had a lot of my 3rd, even a 2nd grade student follow me on Instagram, and we spoke a lot in the chat area, and I was able to help them like log on to, we use Microsoft Teams for classrooms instead of Zoom. And so I was still able to be a resource to students, even though we were not in the classroom. And it also didn't always consist of reading a book. It would include enrollment or include logging on to their classes. And that's about it. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Ebony. You actually mentioned something that it's part of what we do, I think, almost in every library setting. You position yourself as a librarian in all these meetings and all these initiatives, because they cannot forget the library. that's really incredible. The work we have to do, right? And my mom was a school librarian, so I know what Ebony is talking about, that passion and the dedication. And I'm just so glad to be on the ALA Executive Board with Ebony. I've known Ebony a little bit more, and I know she has some Hispanic heritage as well. So she can be a member of Reforma, and she serves the.
Loida, you're muted.
Well, thank you. I just give a monologue to myself. But well, now it's my pleasure to present Nora Franco, a consumer health librarian at UCLA Biomedical Library. She's going to tell us very important information, how she's serving.
Yes, I need to pay my membership. My mom is Hispanic. She's Puerto Rican.
Okay, wonderful. So Kenny, we have to recruit Ebony. All right. Well, now Nora, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Loida, Kenny, and all of Reforma on the webinar. I am gonna share my screen now. I'm assuming you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. All right. And you can see this, right? All right, I see heads shaking. So I am a consumer health librarian. I work for the National Network of Libraries of Medicine, Pacific Southwest region. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the open access resources that we provide through the National Library of Medicine and through our network. But before I jump into the resources, I wanted to talk a little bit about those acronyms. Like Loida said, you may be wondering, what does this mean? Why is this person here talking to me? Oh, and before that, I did want to say happy Pride and happy Black Pride as well. Black Lives Matter and all Black Lives Matter. So thank you, Loida, for pointing that out too. So at the top, we have the National Institutes of Health. You're probably familiar with it. We have made up of 27 different institutes and centers. You might be familiar with the Office of Minority Health, the Office of Women's Health, and the National Library of Medicine is also among those 27 different institutes. So the NNLM, which is where I work, is the outreach branch of the National Library of Medicine. So we basically serve as your liaisons to the National Library of Medicine and to other members within our network. So I work for the Pacific Southwest region. We're housed at the UCLA Biomedical Library, and we provide health information to Arizona, California, Hawaii, Nevada, and Guam and American Samoa. This is a map of the network as it stands now. As you can see, these circles represent the 8 different regions across the US. So whoever is on this call, you have a Nora in one of those regions. So reach out to me or reach out to your NNLM if you have ideas or if you're interested in learning more about medical librarianship as well. This is our mission: to advance the progress of medicine and improve public health by providing open access resources, as well as improving health literacy. The circles on the screen are our network members all across the US, and those are made up of public libraries, school libraries, academic libraries, public health departments, and any type of organization that's providing health information to the public. We also have individual memberships. So you can sign up, create an individual account like you see right here. And once you do that, you'll be placed on our weekly email list. And every time we have new topics, webinars, Moodle classes, those range from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. You can enroll in those. Again, everything is free. It's all open access. And yeah, you will be able to see a wide range of topics, not only here in the Pacific Southwest region, but all across our other offices. So like I said, I provide health information, and we do that in the form of our resource guides, our online webinars, our face-to-face classes, which of course we cannot do anymore because of COVID. So I do a lot of work with Spanish speaking populations. I myself am Tejana. I'm from far west Texas. So when I heard Oscar talking about El Paso, that's my hometown area too. Yeah. So we work with promotoras and Visioni Compromiso. A lot of you may be familiar with that organization, and they're made up of consumer health advocates and workers out in their communities. So listening to some of their webinars, I realized that a lot of the questions that the participants had about COVID, they could be addressed and they could be answered by the resources that NLM provides. So in response to that, I made this page, which is a one-stop shop. I wanted to point people to specific information from the CDC at the time when things were first ramping up and information is there. As we all know, we're all in the time of information overload. It's impossible to know what is accurate and where is one place to start. So I also worked with the Medical Library Association, the Latinx Caucus, and this was made up of several librarians, a group of really awesome, dedicated people, and we created this online resource guide. You can see from the table of contents, we have a wide range of topics and resources from immigration information, family specific, consumer health, research, and we've also broken it down by individual states as well as across the nation, across the US. MedlinePlus.gov is another resource. You're probably familiar with it. Maybe it is the National Library of Medicine's one of our well-known consumer health information go-to sites. So I highlighted just a few of the resources and health topic areas within Medline Plus. And the entire site is available in English and Spanish. You'll just click that button right there and everything is translated. We have the medical encyclopedia, which gives a lot of those medical terms people may not be familiar with. And I highlighted different areas that are affecting our Latino, Latinx population as well. So within Medline Plus, it's basically like the go-to Google for health information. You don't need to sign up for an account. There are no ads on the page. So a lot of people end up going to the Johns Hopkins website or the Mayo Clinic website, which are amazing, great resources. And the nice thing about going to them through Medline Plus is that we strip all of the ads out. We strip all of that distracting content and mainly provide just the information so that it makes it easier for people to digest. Another section that I wanted to point out is this medicinas area. As I was thinking about giving this talk, I thought that's a really important piece because I know that a lot of our Latino or Spanish speaking populations, we go to resources that we're familiar with. And I like to point out that because this is the same information that the pharmacists are using, that doctors are using, but if someone isn't familiar or associated with a hospital or an academic institution, they might not have access to these official resources. So this is one way to get them for free. The Disaster Information Management Research Center is one of the National Library of Medicine departments. They have COVID-19 specific health information, and they also have resources on children and disasters. These are links, so once you get the presentation, you'll be able to click out to these, and they're specifically in Spanish. So this is a database of completely gray literature, meaning it's not anything that's intended to be published in journals. We have fact sheets, documents, guidelines, reports that otherwise are a little bit more difficult to find. So Disaster Lit, I really encourage you to check it out. And they have information for a wide variety of audiences. Like I said, Visioni Compromiso is one of my go-to organizations when it comes to helping Latino and Spanish-speaking populations. Right now, they're giving really great webinars specific to different topics related to COVID-19. And those are archived and recorded on their website. The Public Health Digital Library is another resource from NMLM. And these are just some of the sources and places that you can go to search for more open access health information that's been expanded due to COVID-19, and search within those depending on the different type of audience that you're working with. So I know that we may have academic or special librarians on the call as well. And the Washington, oh, I see that I'm over 8 minutes, so I won't play this video, but this is one of the projects that the NNLM is looking to expand, specifically here in the Pacific Southwest, providing COVID health information resources and technology through our laundromats and through our partners. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. This is me cheesing. And if you're interested in learning more about medical librarianship, please, I'm always trying to recruit and advocate for health sciences librarianship, especially recruiting more people of color in our field. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nora. That is incredible news, because we know health right now is paramount. So we are depending a lot on the work you and your colleagues do. We're so happy that you were able to join us today. And so now I would like to have everyone back. Wonderful. And let me see if I can share my screen with the last here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have 2 questions so far, but if anybody has questions, please write it in the chat. I'm sharing my screen. I cannot see the questions on the chat box, but I hope my colleagues can. So the first question is, I believe, is for Oscar. It said, is the anti-racism workshop virtual? I think you mentioned something about an anti-racism workshop, or was it Kenny? It was all the way at the beginning, this question. Someone mentioned an anti-racism workshop, and they want to know if it's going to be virtual.
So I know our conference, the fall conference, is going to be online. So that question might have been addressed to me. So yes, for sure, our fall conference will be online. We will put out information about our conference, and we usually throw it on the Reforma listserv. So if you are a member of Reforma, you'll be able to get that link online. But so hopefully that answers that question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And then the other question is for Ebony. She mentioned a special donors. Where is Ebony? I think, is Ebony with us? Yes, okay, it's just I don't see it on my screen. So yes, she mentioned a special donors program, and they want to know, where do you do that? So I'm not sure what is the special donors program, but Ebony can answer that. She might have to step out. I don't see her on my screen.
I see her. Ebony, are you there? But she's muted. But I see her. She's on camera.
Okay. All right. Any other questions in the meantime?
I received a question privately,
Yes.
and the question was regarding, given that you provided all content in Spanish, were there requests to provide the content in other major languages, and for example, Chinese? So we did not receive requests for the COVID-19 specific information, but we are being proactive as a library system, and the initial Spanish language translations team has been expanded to the LAPL translations team, and now we have different teams from our staff members who get paid the bilingual bonus, and now we have a small team providing Chinese translations, traditional and simplified, Persian, Korean, Japanese, and I think I'm missing one. Let me look at my
I believe it's Russian and Armenian.
Russian and Armenian, thank you. And then if you go to our Elite Summer Reading Challenge, you'll see all the languages. The Korean is being added. You might not see there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll be 9 languages total, including English and Spanish. So we're just started doing that, and we'll keep doing it. It is, like I said, it's in our mission and our values to, be there for our diverse community. So we'll keep doing all we can.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent job. Ebony, there was a question about the special donors program. Perhaps you have, and they wanted to know, where do you do that? I guess, where do you place it?
Okay. Pat was so nice, and she actually put the link in. It's donorschoose.com, and it is for teachers, educators, people who basically work in the school, so it includes librarians too. And you fill out the form. It's like an online, like not a database, but a personal form that you fill out, and you do projects, they call them, and you get donations from various people, usually your school, your friends. If we're friends on Facebook or you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I post all the time about my donor choose. I share it. So it's like and usually with my school, we have a partnership with American University. So what happens is I will do a donors choose, and then I send it to my admin, and they share it with the American University community. And usually a lot of donors or alumni, teachers, students. I mean, a lot of people that I get donations from, I do not know.
So if you're a school librarian, you know about what she's Ebony is referring to. Incredible.
Yes.
Time also put on this. Well, thank you so much. Last thing, we're right on the hour, but I see that a number of us, without really talking to each other, are wearing statement t-shirts. So if you can show them, because you went through all that to wear them. So Black librarians will give you a good read. And we are all immigrants. Fabulous. And then mine is about library folks in solidarity with all the vulnerable groups. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. This webinar was full at capacity. And thank you so much to Edwin Rodarte, our Reforma wizard. He is being behind scenes, but managing all the logistics and everything related to the webinar platform. And I think when we go over the capacity, he then opens a YouTube channel. So this is fabulous work. Thank you so much. And as Kenny said, hopefully Reforma will continue this type of programming periodically, because it doesn't seem that we're going to be over this COVID-19 soon. So here are the librarians to provide access to information to better the education and lifelong learning of our communities. So thank you. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you.